There we go. Howdy, howdy. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, people from across the globe. I hope you all are doing great. Welcome to one more session of Smartlead's Office Hours. My name is Akash, and I'm your customer success manager here at Smartlead. For people who've already been here, as you know, before we start, there's a tiny chat button in the bottom center of your screen. Click on that, drop on the comments where you're from, the temperature at your city, and also let us know if you're an agency, a SaaS company, or a freelancer. We'd love to know, guys. There it is, Jess from Georgia. Hi, Jess. Thank you for joining in. Colin, agency, Philippines, Chicago, Sunny. Ah, Rotterdam, SaaS, agency from Madrid, India, freelancer. Global audience. Awesome. Keep it going, guys. 85 degree Fahrenheit. Wow. North Carolina, agency. It's raining here as always. Perfect. We have people from everywhere. Awesome. Keep it going, guys. But before we start, as you all know, the theme for today is deliverability is the new conversion rate. And honestly, I can't deny, right? Because at this point, deliverability and domain strategy are the difference between pipeline and purgatory in a landscape where inboxes are flooded. So in this session, Namit, our guest for today, will expose the strategies that elite cold emailers use to stay out of spam, scale their campaigns, and hit reply rates that close deals. So, Namit, welcome aboard, sir. Glad to have you back. And before I pass on the mic to you, quick round of introduction for Namit. Namit is the founder of ArrowSend. And Namit's work behind ArrowSend has made him a go-to person for outbound teams trying to scale without burning domains or their mailboxes. So today, Namit, I hope you're going to share the underground tactics that pros don't usually reveal. So over to you, sir. A quick round of introduction and we can kickstart.
All right, yeah, let's get started. So, yeah, thank you all for joining in. Very excited for this. Basically, yeah, we'll kind of like jump fast because there's so much content to cover, but I'm the founder of AeroSend and we built a private infrastructure for inboxes. So we'll talk about everything later and let's jump into the presentation so that we can cover everything and there's enough time for questions.
Awesome. Over to you, sir. The stage is yours.
I'm going to share my screen and then let me know. You guys see it? You see my screen, Akash?
Yes, big and clear.
Perfect. All right, let's do this. Let's go laser pointer. So here's my goal for today as we go about this. One of them would be I kind of want to give you the entire playbook for deliverability, what works, and focus on like beyond the basics. So all I ask is like, hey, like really listen to this, ask as many questions as you have, implement what we've spoken about today. And that's it. That's all you guys need to be golden when it comes to this subject. Before I go into this topic, a preface and disclaimer. No amount of deliverability will fix bad copy or a bad lead list. You might get more negative replies, but offer is always king. So since that's good, let's go over to the next step and talk about the agenda. This is everything we're going to cover today. One of them is fundamentals of deliverability. Second would be like how to set up and purchase accounts. What are the different options you have? Third, we're going to cover aged and pre-warmed domains since there's a whole lot of hype going on, where to be careful, where to buy them from. Fourth, one of my favorite topics would be advanced deliverability techniques, like how to break into Outlook, break into defense systems, and maintain consistent deliverability over time. And fifth would be how to identify deliverability problems, like how do we do it? What have we built in the inside? And the next one, we have a huge surprise for you. I'm kind of low-key scared to give this away, but we'll see how it goes. Like we have free deliverability tools that we use and discounts plus a lot of additional value. So as we go further, what I would love to know is do a quick poll. So Swapnil, can you set up the poll here? I want you guys to tell me where should I spend the most amount of time on and what should I spend the most amount of time talking?
There we go. Keep it coming. So as of now, advanced deliverability techniques is leading, but let's wait for it. Still coming through.
I think that's a pretty clear indication. Should I unfollow now? Rough?
I think most of them have kind of already filled it. So I think the third option has close to 34%, and I think we should go with that.
Perfect. So advanced deliverability, email deliverability basics, and how to identify and solve deliverability problems. All right. Let's get started with cold email fundamentals or the basics. So these are things all of you need to be doing 100% of the time, like almost no exceptions here. One, plain text. Let me know in the questions if you don't know what plain text is, but Smartlead makes it very easy. Technical setup, get that right. 2 to 4 weeks of warm up is a must. 4 weeks of warm up actually works better for us, and that's what we've tested. Spin tags, I know that like some people feel like, okay, like it might not help, but it does not hurt. So that's a must as well. Fourth is a mistake that I see a lot of people make is do not contact negative responses for the same clients again. So what we do in Smartlead is we never delete leads that have replied. So that way there's like no way of reaching out to them again. Fifth is keep your copy short. Sixth would be lower the number of sequences. So don't do 6 sequences, keep them as low as possible, even 1 or 2 if your TAM is big enough. Next is like spam words. Spam words actually hurt you, so remove the major ones. Don't use crypto, AI. Smartlead has a checker build. And another one which is interesting is don't mention big numbers. We've seen a huge drop in reply rates if you use $50,000 versus 50K. Kind of achieves the same thing. Those are most of the cold email deliverability fundamentals that if you use them, you're at a very good spot and far ahead of most people when it comes to basics. One other thing I want to mention is list cleaning. So targeted lead lists, very, very important just to get good replies. And email verification, because I want to show you how I verify emails and like what my process is. So we do this in Clay, but we have a 5-step process to verify emails. I'm not affiliated with any of these softwares. We just use them, and there are alternatives available in the market that are very good. So step 1, we million verify everything that comes to us. It doesn't matter how much we trust the database. And even if it's like 2 weeks old, we million verify again. Then we use bounce ban for catch-all verification. Step number 3, just because we want to go to the last mile and get the most lead, we waterfall the remaining leads. Lead Magic is our main provider over there. When we get that new list, we again run it through million verify, and we again run the new catch-all through bounce ban to get our final list. So all of this is automated using Clay for us. I'll send you my Clay table after the meeting, after the webinar, and you can probably build something in NA10 or Make also if that's what you guys want to do.
Awesome.
Cool. So that's all the basics here. The next thing would be setting up and purchasing accounts. Now, when you think about setting up and purchasing accounts, you guys only have like 3 main options. A, you can set those accounts manually. The cost is very high, time required is high, and it's extremely complex. I'll show you how to do that after this as well. But yeah, like deliverability is pretty good. They are very reliable if you do it correct. The second option is resellers. Again, they've become very popular. The cost is low compared to like setting up accounts manually. The time required is pretty low, complexity is low. And the third option is like going for a private infrastructure here. Cost low, time required low, complexity. So what I'll do next is like show you what to avoid when doing all 3. This is our playbook on how we used to, and if we still need to, how we set up accounts manually. So the first thing that we do is we create a free Outlook account. So whatever name at outlook.com, just because Outlook doesn't have restrictions when it comes to free accounts. Then to actually log into the account and all of this stuff, we use what is called a headless browser. So Incognition. Again, it gets a little technical, but basically it doesn't track your backend. Then we use 5 to 10 domains per panel when we're creating our own accounts. We don't go more than that. We use proxies, IPs. We use IPv4 proxies. We use virtual cards from Capital One and Privacy.com. A lot of people use AirWallets as well. We have temporary phone numbers that we use for OTPs. And there's also Google verification pass-through that has started coming that you'll see at scale. Can't say much here, but it's just that they don't actually check it through. So these are the 6 things that we do when we set up accounts manually, and they're a must if you want to do that. The next thing is resellers. So there's a lot of good and bad with resellers, but there are 2 main things that you need to watch out for when you do resellers. So some resellers, not all, there are some very good ones, use what we call legacy panels or 300 domain panels. There are also 150 domain panels. Essentially, what that means is they'll put 300 domains in one admin panel. And just because they've been bought in I think 2003, 2004, they work really well for a little bit of time and then all 300 domains crash. So make sure that you guys don't get into a 300 domain panel. Second is what we call EDU panels. Basically, you register a university and you get a bunch of free panels from Google. Those don't work for cold email. The deliverability just tanks over time. One possible solution that I haven't seen any reseller kind of pass through is you request admin access to your accounts as a non-negotiable here. So a disadvantage of that is that's still somewhat centralized and resellers get bans at scale. So there's nothing you can do, just be prepared for it. And that just happens in the cold email world. That's normal. Awesome. The other thing is SM.
Before we go there, just taking one step back. So regarding the Google verification pass-through, right? Can you just give some more clarity on that? Because we have that coming on the chat.
Yeah. So for Google verification pass-through, what happens is when you create a lot of Google accounts, Google will say, hey, you need to verify who you are. So they're looking for an ID, and essentially they're looking for a picture of a debit card. Right. So it's all pictures, so you can figure out how to pass through it, but that's what you need at scale.
Got it. Awesome.
Make sense? Perfect.
Thank you, sir.
SMTPs. So since we've done a lot of work in this space, irrespective of what SMTP you guys choose, whether it's Aerosense, something else, this is the questions you need to ask and what you need to avoid. What is it? So avoid resellers with little to no control. So these are white label resellers. Second, avoid shared IPs. So you need dedicated IPs if you guys are doing, and this needs to be broken down with small number of domains as well. Third, you need someone that you need to avoid no isolation in servers. So servers need to be isolated as much as possible. So you need that as well when you do SMTPs. The questions to ask is hey, how do you manage IP reputation? Because that's one of the hardest things to do when you do your own SMTP. Fifth, do they have backup IPs for you? That's a great question to ask. And sixth is kind of really annoyed me at one point was hey, a lot of providers will just give you domains and inboxes, but they have no mechanism for post-purchase deliverability care. So it's their responsibility, it's their servers, it's their inboxes. Whoever you choose needs to have a post-purchase deliverability care mechanism. So they need to be giving you domain burn alerts, helping you replace inboxes and all that stuff. So that's all the different types of inboxes here. In summary, you need, go ahead, yeah.
Yes, Amit. Just taking a step back regarding the SMTP providers, right? So we have one question on chat, which is, does it make a difference if I'm using a dedicated server to send out SMTP emails? So if I have an SMTP provider, is it recommended to have a dedicated server for it? What do you think? What are your thoughts?
Yes, 100%. It's very recommended because at the end of the day, you're isolating your reputation. Let's say you have 10, 20, 30 clients on one server. What's going to happen is essentially one bad apple will take down the entire server. Okay. And when that happens, it's hard to replace, and it just affects deliverability at scale for a bunch of users together when it's not even your fault.
Got it. Makes sense. And talking about the basics and the fundamentals, right? As you know, one common question that people have at this point is, how do they scale the sending volume, right? So a lot of providers, they have a recommendation, but people are always worried about how to scale it. So one more question is, how can we increase the daily send limit to 50 emails per day per mailbox? Is it possible at this point of time, or is there a way people can do it safe?
Just send better emails. That's the only way to do it. If you're sending very, very good emails, you can scale past limits. Otherwise, the lower, the better, because that kind of balances your marked as spam ratio that balances your not reply rate. So there's really no way to bypass that unless like you're sending emails that are so good that all these servers will let you win. And if you also, yeah.
And a follow-up question to that is, what would you say good emails are? Is it just having good copies, plain text, all the best practices, or is there a different way to look at it?
So in short, good emails are emails that get an extremely high positive reply rate. That's what good emails are. So you need everything in itself. Yes, you need the basics where you need good lead lists, good copy, but your offer should also be something that users really, really want. So it is a combination of everything. So if you don't get good replies, it doesn't necessarily mean you're not writing good emails. It just means your offer is something your lead list doesn't want.
Got it. And sorry to do this to you, right? One more follow-up question for this is, what would be a good reply percentage for a good email?
Yeah, if you can breach through the 5 to 10% reply rate without out of offices, that's when like a very good reply, like 5 to 15, I would say. That's when you know that like you've hit something, and especially if you can replicate that at scale. So usually comes with when you're offering something for free with lead magnets, very hard to do it with a hard CTA unless like the timing is very right.
Got it. And I'm going to pick up a few from the chat as well, Anamit, just to make sure everything is being answered to. Any recommendations for good SMTPs that you have based off your experience?
Yeah, my SMTP. Yeah, go to edison.io and check it out.
Go for it, people. You have the answer. And the next one is the good reply rate was answered too. And you spoke about how you kind of start the cleaning process with million verifier, and then you go to bounce band to kind of remove all the catch-all. So can you give us a brief over there again as to what the process looks like?
Yeah, I'll send you a clay table that does exactly this, but million verifier verifies everything. You get the catch-alls. Only those catch-alls are gone through bounce band, because bounce band does catch-all verification, and it's also 4 or 5x more expensive than million verifier. Then whatever leads you haven't received or are invalid, you waterfall them in the same process again.
Awesome. And the golden question when it comes to cold emailing, right? Do we have open and click tracking enabled, or do we send out plain text emails?
Plain text emails, always.
No.
Like no brainer here. There's a huge difference in replies.
Perfect. And the next one, I think that's where we're going to as well, which is best practices to land in Microsoft accounts. Are there anything specific that you see?
Yeah.
Amit,
I'll walk you through it soon. Yeah.
Awesome. Go for it, boss. Good. That's all I had.
So last slide on like accounts in general, diversification is key. And like, if you own 10 domains, you can really just pick one provider and you're fine. But when you start going to scale, do not do 100% SMTP, do not do 100% reseller, do not do 100% everything. Diversify as much as possible, because every 3 to 6 months, there are updates to cold email and people need to catch up. So sometimes like Google resellers will get banned. Sometimes Outlook resellers will get banned. Sometimes one of the SMTPs will get hit. So that's very, very normal. The second thing that I see a lot of people do is like stop fighting over $1 per inbox. Like you will go to a provider which gives you bad inboxes just because it's cheaper there. But if you think about the math, the LTV of a client or of a customer is just so high, where that $1 doesn't make sense to compromise deliverability. Like cold email is no longer cheap. There was a time when you could spend $20 and send insane amount of emails. Now you need to pay for infrastructure.
Got it.
Cool. So moving next, Asian pre-warm domains. This was pretty low, so I'll kind of move fast through it. Pre-warm domains, what are this? Pre-warm domains are essentially domains like, let's say that's a provider, they will buy the domains, they will buy accounts, and they will just warm them up. So when you buy them, they're ready to use. That sounds very good in theory, but there are a lot of things that can go wrong here. One, if they've already purchased the domains, like are they transferring the domains to you, or are you just temporarily using those accounts? And then when you deactivate it, they will go give it to someone else. So when you buy those domains, you need to make sure that like they have not been used by someone else, and you're actually owning the domain so that those domains don't go to someone else. A lot of providers, or at least like the few that I have seen, will just keep reusing these domains from one person to the other, and you never end up getting fresh warmed domains, which just works so much better. So that's pre-warm domains. So be careful out there. Next is age domains. This is relatively new. We are testing these right now as well. So I don't know how good they're going to work. but essentially these are domains that like people did not renew, forgot to renew. So these can be very old. And you can go to one of these websites and just buy those domains. Obviously, they have to be generic domains. They can't be like, they won't be a brand name, but the age, they could be as old as 10 years. The only thing where these can go wrong would be like if those domains belong to spammers or people who had spammed a lot in the past, and now you've paid for a domain that's a generic domain and that never works. So how to verify them is also an interesting question right now. How we've kind of done it is like we check their backlinks to make sure they were legit websites, and we're using Wayback Machine to see like what the website actually was at one point. And third, like if they don't perform on day one after like 2-3 weeks of warm up, we just stop using them and understand that like they were bad domains to begin with. So if you have the budget to test, then only test them, because we haven't tested them, so I can't back these up yet.
Got it.
Good. Now let's go into the favorite topic, advanced deliverability techniques. And how do you land in Microsoft here? So Outlook has been doing this something, what we call shadow bans. Basically, you don't get a bounce, you don't even land in the inbox, and the email just dies somewhere in the middle. So a lot of theories of how they've been doing it. Some people claim that they have implemented like an LLM approach reading technique, and it seems like it. So how you combat that is like this is precluding like you have good infrastructure already. So now what you need to do is ultra short copy, so less than 40 words. Make it as non-salesy as possible. Remove title from signature. So if you're entering a founder or something, remove that. Just keep your company name. Remove any opt-out phrases. I know that's different from what you've heard all this time, but if you want to land in Outlook and break through that barrier, that's what you need to do right now. Remove long CTAs, so keep them short. And do not target more than 4 to 5 employees per company bi-weekly. So a lot of people, like, if you want to target someone like Apple, you're just going to load 100 employees from Apple in your list. Don't do that. So that's how you break into Outlook, and kind of that's what's been working for us. Any questions on this in particular, Kash? Because I know this was a big
So you're
topic,
basically saying no opt-out, right? So plain text, no opt-out links, maybe go for a text saying PS, reply back, unsubscribe, what we usually do.
And remove that as well. No opt-out. Remove any form of option itself. Yes.
Okay. So because one follow-up question to this is based on compliance, right? Would it be okay? Because people reaching out to global markets, they kind of have it because of the compliance, right? So is there a way to go about that, or simply just remove the links and send it across?
Yeah, so I haven't done enough research on the compliance part to speak on a global scale. So that's something you'll have to check with your legal team. This is how we've been breaking into Outlook, and this is purely deliverability. Yeah.
Absolutely. And I am kind of picking up a few from the chat, but there are a lot of questions. So people, if I miss out on any questions, apologies for that. But you also have a Q&A session at the end of once Namit is done, right? So you can shoot your question directly to Namit and he would answer it for you. But quickly picking up a few ones. Do you have an example for a good CTA, Namit, by any chance? Something that's been working out for you?
Yeah, so for us, like good CTA essentially means like it should be a yes, no, but if it's a hard CTA, so would you be interested in testing this? Would you be open to more information? And then obviously that's like, would you be interested in testing this, or in more information is semi-hard CTAs? And then if you like go very soft with the sense like, hey, like I'm sending you a free resource, do you want the resource? Those kind of CTAs work very, very well versus pushing for like, do you have time on Thursday for a call?
Awesome. And when you say plain text, I also assume it's the whole copy, right? Be it the subject line, be it the signature. And how is your signature like? Because this is one common question we get, right? The whole copies are in plain text, but when you go to the signature, they have the website link, they have the LinkedIn URL. Is that recommended, Namit?
We're removing everything, and that's what's working for us. Like for Outlook, I'm not even entering my title. I'm just entering my name and the company name. That's it. No websites, no LinkedIn links, nothing. What we've seen is like, if they're genuinely interested, they'll go to the URL top, the domain that you're sending, redirect, and still book a call. And if they're interested, they'll ask you for more information anyway. So long term, it's like for your pipeline, it will not make a difference. For like the revenue, maybe your pipeline shrinks a little because you get less qualified people.
Got it. And this is especially for people who can't kind of avoid links, right? Because I've been talking to a few sales and marketing teams, and the way they track how well their campaigns are performing, it's kind of crucial for them to add tracking links, right? That's what they say. So it's either opens or clicks, because they measure the success of the campaign based on that. Or in some cases, it's a Zoom link or the Cal link they send across to book meetings, right? So what would be your recommendation for people who kind of want these links to go out? Do they do it in their follow-up emails, or do they do this when they generate a response, perhaps?
Probably when you generate the response, that's the best. What you have to understand is those metrics are not accurate anymore. So yes, I understand the idea of like, hey, like I want to track how many people clicked on my link. But when most of the clicks are bot links, clicks anywhere, it just becomes a vanity feel-good metric at the end of the day.
Got it. Awesome.
Right.
And just one last question, right? So talking about sequences, Namit, you did mention go for a shorter sequence. So when you say shorter, it's less than 40 words is what you recommend, right?
Yeah, when I said go for shorter sequences, I meant the number of sequences, lower number of sequences, number of steps. Yeah, the way you have to map it is like, this is a very different topic, so I'll kind of talk about it maybe some of it, but like you have to map your entire target market and aim to reach the entire target market in 3 months. That's a very good thing. So if you can go with 1-step sequences, that's better than 3-step sequences.
Awesome. Cool. Perfect. That's all I had, sir.
Moving. So the second thing is what we're calling a sine wave pattern, or an on-off when it comes to domains. And I didn't coin the term. I'll have to give the credit to my co-founder here, but we're going to stick with it because it sounds really cool. Basically, what we do is we divide your set of domains into 2, and we use one set for 1 month and the other set for 2nd month. And the alternate set is just left on warm up without sending. So I'll walk you guys through how to do this in Smartlead. And I understand that it might add a little bit of cost, but your domains are healthier way longer, and the reply rates are shot up by doing this. So yeah, so again, to repeat, what we do is there's 1 month where one set is active, and there's 1 month where the other set is active. That's kind of how we're doing it. So let's walk you through how to do that. So take any one client, for example. What you're going to do is calculate and divide the total domains by 2. So in our example, we have 20 domains for company A. Those translate to roughly 1,500 emails per day with all 20 active. What we've done is set 1 is 10 domains. So that's going to translate to 750 emails per day. And set 2 for 10 domains for 750 emails per day. The second thing, what we're going to do is we're going to leverage Smartlead's tags here. So you can see in the screenshot, I have set 1 as my tags here. So you're going to divide your domains in set 1 and set 2. The next thing that you're going to do is you're going to divide your campaigns and lead lists for every 2 weeks. So we use 2 weeks. You can do it for the month as well. The math just changes with the same concept. So we do 2 weeks on, 2 weeks off. So what you're going to do is take how many leads do I want in 2 weeks? So for us, we had 750 emails per day. So for 2 weeks, we sent 7,500 emails. If you have a 1-step sequence, that's 7,500 leads. If you have a 2-step sequence, that's approximately 3,750 leads. That's correct. And if there's a 3-step sequence, that's approximately 2,500 leads. Add a campaign that will run for 2 weeks with your set 1 accounts, and only add the leads that you plan to reach out to. Then once those 2 weeks are about to end, create a new campaign and add the same amount of leads again with your set 2. So that way you're like oscillating between set 1 and set 2. Domains are always getting a break. It becomes kind of easy to manage at scale as well. Now, there are a lot of advantages for this, like obviously deliverability being the big one. Like now your domains last so much longer, you're getting better reply rates. Burnout happens much, much, much slower. And the second thing, what happens is like now you actually can see your deliverability over weeks, rather than like loading 50,000 campaigns and like wondering 50,000 leads in one campaign and wondering what happened. And when you take this approach, it kind of forces you to segment lists better also. Right. So definitely, I think everyone should be using this if you want deliverability over a long period of time. This has worked extremely well for us.
Got it. Awesome.
Second thing here is, which I see a lot of people do, is do not use all your inboxes for initial emails or message market fit. So here's what it means. Let me clarify. Like, let's say you get a new client, or let's say that you're just launching cold emails. What you will do, or what some people do here, is like they will just add all the inboxes in one go, have 2,000, 3,000 cents, and you have 2,000, 3,000 cents and like zero replies. So they've essentially burned all those inboxes, and that just doesn't work. So even if you find copies, so use like 20 to 50% of your inboxes, even after division of segments, after you before you find message market fit, and then you can use all your emails for message market fit. So scale up when you get results. That way you're not burning everything. One thing I forgot to mention, the previous one, was when you create this campaign every 2 weeks, remember to rotate the copy as well. So rotate the copy if possible. That helps as well. Good. So those are two techniques we spoke about: the sine wave pattern and do not use all inboxes for initial email. The third one is multiple different campaigns running at one point. This also helps because it's automatically rotating your copy. So at one point, we're running a hard CTA campaign, Loom video campaign, lead magnet campaign, maybe multiple lead magnet campaigns for ourselves and clients as well. So definitely something that you should think about, rather than just running one campaign at one time and getting copy fatigue, which is essentially a real thing.
Understood.
Let's go for the new fourth, backup domains. Not everyone can do this. Like, depends on the budgets, depends on how valuable the client is to you. But we always keep backup domains. That's when I'm going to show you how to identify deliverability problems, and essentially when you need to replace domains, 20 to 50% of those domains are in backup, and it's easy to replace them. So that's kind of like the entire advanced structure that we're using to actually continuously land in the inbox, continue booking meetings. There are two more things that I haven't tested myself. So these four I can 100% vouch for. So we're still testing this. One is campaign start time variation. Mm-hmm. Basically, like if your campaign start at like 8 a.m. EST every day, when you launch a new campaign, just do 8:03, 8:05, 8:07. Smartlead already does a lot of this stuff, but it can't hurt. Second is best leads first to get more replies. In theory, that makes sense that if you put your best leads first, your reply rate boosts up, so your deliverability will improve overall, compared to if you put bad leads first and your reply rate goes down, so your deliverability gets affected for the best leads. So in theory, both of these make sense, but I haven't tested them myself.
Got it.
I wanted the audience.
One quick question related to your previous slide, Namit, right? So agreed on having backup domains, etc. But when does one understand the domains are burned? Because this has been a common question until now, right? When do I understand I have to change my domains? When should I go for a different domain? Or when do I understand it's burned?
Perfect. So I'll explain step-by-step process of what we've built for Aerosend for our clients and like how we do it. And I'll just spill everything that we do right after this.
Sure.
Okay. Cool. All right. How to identify email deliverability problems? And those are 5 key metrics. So let's get into it. Do we have enough time? I think we have time. Cool. So basically, the honest truth here is no one knows whether email landed in inbox or spam except the person who received it. So what we have to do is we have to look at the metrics available to us and take calculated and informed decisions. And I'll just show you the 5 key metrics and how we do that and how we build this inside Aerosend. So anyone can do this, by the way. This first is warm-up reputation. Mm-hmm. And what that means is, so warm-up accounts are essentially a lot of cold email accounts as well. So they're not a very true indicator where like 100% means that like you're 100% going to land in the inbox, but a bad reputation means you're landing in spam a lot. So yeah, so like a lot of other warm-up providers show like 100% all the time. I think Smartlead's done a very good job here, but if you have under 90% in warm-up reputation, you need to stop sending emails from that domain ASAP. One thing that we do is it's hard to disconnect domains and stuff like that. We just change the daily limit of that domain to 1. So that's an example of like some domains that were affected and we changed it to 1. Right. So that's kind of like what we are doing. And if they send 1 or 2 cold emails, it doesn't matter. That's the first indicator.
Yeah. Now that you mentioned about it, Namit, I saw one on the chat as well, right? is low sending limit actually a thing, right? So because there are people who are currently doing it, and people would want to do it as well, but is it really working out for you in a good way, or is it
Yes.
something that can affect it in a bad way?
No. So when you say low sending limit, I'm assuming you mean like let's lower the email sends per account.
Yes, yes, sir, absolutely
Yes.
right. So sending limit per day
Correct.
per mailbox.
Yeah. So essentially, I think sending limit per domain matters a lot than sending limit per mailbox. So if you're
Mailbox.
going to buy 10 mailboxes and change that email volume to like just the same as 3 mailboxes, you're just wasting money. So like
Right.
they're still going to burn. So, but if you do send fewer emails per domain, especially if budgets allow, that works very well because it slows down how fast your domains will burn. It's all
Correct.
about like how many times you're getting marked as spam. So
Right. Noted. Noted. And I'm going to come back at you with that. I hope you don't mind. Which is any recommendations for the domain level limit? What is the safe number you've seen?
it's just a variation of like it's such a hard question to answer because it's always the lower the better. Like
Right.
we recommend 75 like with reasonable emails where like you're getting responsive.
Right.
If you're really testing it, like go as low as 45 to 50, and that gives you a lot of rope itself. Like
Understood.
45 to
Understood.
50 per domain works well, 75 works really well for us as well.
Awesome. Awesome.
Okay. So that's what for the first metric you should look at. The second metric is inbox placement tests. So similar to like what I spoke to you about, like in the warm up, these are seed accounts, and they not necessarily mimic like the actual security systems that 200 employee companies or 100 employee companies have. But so if you land in the inbox and inbox placement test, that doesn't necessarily mean you're inboxing always. But if you're landing in spam, that's a problem. So what we've built is like an automated bi-weekly test. So every 2 weeks on a weekend, we conduct inbox placement tests. If the first test is a spam, we stop sending from that domain. We like doing it things domain wise just because domain affects overall reputation, but you can do it email account as well. We recommend domains. If the second test is spam in a row, we just change the domain itself. So that's like a hard limit for us that like, hey, like you've landed in spam 2 weeks, 4 weeks now, like let's just change the domain. It's not worth investing more resources into this domain. And we remove
Understood.
that domain. So that's the second metric. Third one's actually my favorite one and the most accurate here, which is reply rate metrics by domain. So this is one of the very accurate, and I'll explain what it means. But in short, when you do domain rotation, not all your domains are performing equally. There's a possibility that some of those domains were marked as spam and are already burned. There's a possibility some of your domains are healthy. So Smartlead's kind of built a cool global analytics here. You can use that. And towards the end, I'll show you a free tool that actually does this for you. But here's how you calculate it, and here's an example. So this is like one of like a trial campaign here, an example case. So you see the total reply rate here is 11.46%. However, when you break down, let's assume this used 10 domains. When you break down what's actually happening, you're going to see that 3 domains were at a 15% reply rate. 3 domains were at an 11% reply rate. 2 domains were 8% reply rate, and 2 domains were 3 to 4% reply rate. So obviously you should be removing the 3 to 4% reply rate because that's tanking your entire campaign. Just an example, my math might not be wrong here. This breakdown is not real, but
Understood.
that's how it happens here. So essentially, this is something you should be running weekly, and that will help you remove. And typically, what we do is at the end of the month, we remove the bottom 10 to 20% domains, depending on the difference in reply rates. So that's something you should be doing. One thing to note is law of large numbers. So the minimum send per domain needs to be at least 500 for you to take an action on this. So don't send 20 emails, see huge difference in reply rates and take an action, because that could mean a lot of things.
Understood.
Perfect. Same concept with bounce rate metrics by domain. So once you split this out, what you're going to see is like some accounts with extremely high bounce rate, especially if you see any alarming ones, just remove them towards the end of the month. So if you're running an agency, just do like a cleaning exercise every end of the month, and that will help you a lot. And yeah, that's problem number 4. Problem number 5 is interesting because it's bounce time. And what we've seen is a lot of the types of bounces, but the two major ones we kind of need to worry about as cold emailers. One is inbox not found, which essentially you can ignore if it's in a small scale. If it's in a big scale, verify your leads. And the second is spam reject. So this is where like you need to really take care of. If you start seeing this, it just means your domains have been burnt and you need to replace domain. So again, like this needs to be under a percent. So if you see like half or 1% of these, that's when you need to like replace your domains and understand that like something wrong might be happening.
Understood.
Cool. That's it. Well, should I go for free tools and giveaways first and then do Q&A after that?
Maybe this before you go out. I wanted to call this out previously, but for people who stay back until the end, Namit is going to have a lot of free tools and some giveaways for you folks. This will be right after the Q&A session. But Namit, is there anything you wanted to cover, sir? I think everything I had and your flow was perfect. You kind of captured everything. But anything else you're missing out?
I think that was a lot of it in terms of deliverability. Obviously, like you do this, like along with like the softwares that have now been built, like obviously like Smartlead here would be huge. Like you don't need to do anything else apart from this. Don't complicate deliverability. That's something that like it's already been fixed for you. Like a lot of people are working who really understand the deliverability world. They've done a lot of work for you guys. And the last thing here is deliverability is a scale. So you're not 0% inbox or 100% inbox. You're somewhere in the middle that's causing problems right now.
Understood. And before we wrap up, right, if you can do this for us, which is, we spoke about a lot of things, right? So 5 or 10 quick pointers as to what we covered would be really helpful for people here as well.
Okay, perfect. So we spoke about the basic fundamentals. You can just refer to the slide. That was one. The second thing that we spoke about was like setting up accounts and the different options you have, that you should diversify across options, but what to watch out for from these resellers. The third we spoke about was aged and pre-warmed domains, just because I want you guys to be aware. Honestly, like if you don't want to test it, I'll just tell you how our aged domains work in the next 15 to 20 days, so don't worry about that. Fourth was how to land in Outlook, the copy changes, and the sine wave pattern, which is very important, along with rotating copy, which is advanced deliverability techniques. And now we are at the fifth part, which is free tools and giveaways, which I'm actually very excited to share with you.
Awesome. And I quickly also wanted to confirm you're going to drop the document and also the clay table for the folks here, right, on the chat?
Exactly. Yep.
Awesome. Perfect. Thank you so much, Namit, and thank you for spilling the secrets, right? Because people usually don't tell this, but thank you so much. And folks, the floor is open for questions. Turn on your video and you will see a react button on the center bottom. Click on that, raise your hand, I'll spotlight you, and you can ask your questions directly to Namit. Again, react on the bottom. Chris has already raised his hand. Raise your hand, turn on your video, and I'll spotlight you. Chris, there you go, sir.
Hey, Chris.
Unmute. All right. Hey, thank you for this. It's pretty helpful. So I'm just a beginner because I was doing lead generation from LinkedIn, but now I'm getting into the like email part. So my question to you is, since I'm a beginner, like talk to an 8-year-old so that you can just simplify as much as possible. My question is like end goal is booking calls, like booking qualified sales calls. So you are saying 40 words message, get a reply. That part, it's not very clear for me. So can you please explain like what do you mean specifically? End goal is sending a link so that they click the link, go to the website or book a call. So send a 40 message. Would you like to get our free something or giving some value? Get a yes, then send the call link or at the third email. So which one you feel works best?
Yeah, once you get a positive reply from them, once they've said yes, you have the green light to send them whatever you want.
Second email.
Again,
you guys
second email. Okay. Yeah. So like this is not absolute, because if your domain gets blacklisted or something bad happens to your domain, even the second email can go to spam. But 90-95% of the cases, like you're fine to send whatever you want in the second email. That will not go to spam. That will land in the inbox.
Okay. My second question is, if it's possible, basically, I just want to start working on this. Like, and my focus is on just mastering getting calls from emails. So if you have to say like the fundamentals, which I followed what you said, like specifically took lots of notes. Um, Buying email inboxes, you are saying. So I already created like the company email. So
Mhm.
what you are saying is if we buy old aged emails, they are more credible and it just goes into inbox more, or it's completely something else.
Yeah, so domain age is a huge factor when it comes to domain reputation, right? Like the older the domain, the more likely you're going to land in the inbox.
Domain
That's
or
the
email?
whole domain
Mm,
age, domain.
okay. Okay.
So for cold email, you need to buy secondary domains. And when you buy secondary domains, those are essentially new domains. So what there's the possibilities you can buy expired domains of the internet if that's what you're referring to. But
No,
yeah, so
like
for
I
basics, yeah,
created email. I created emails for my company email.
yeah.
So you are saying
Mhm.
don't use that, which is old
Mm.
domain.
Yeah, essentially don't use that. Like when use secondary domains, so create new domains and use those for cold emailing. Don't use your primary domain. Is that the question here?
Yes. So okay.
Yes. Yes.
Okay. So I just need to completely buy a new domain and do all the emails, like organize new emails.
Yes.
And can you tell
Yeah.
me please why?
Because what happens is that when you send cold emails, that domain reputation will go down over time. And if you do that to your primary domain, that's the domain, primary domain being company domain, that's the domain that like your customers will reach out to and everything will start going to spam over time. So buy new domains that are isolated and just cost $12 so you can replace at any time.
Okay. Thank you very much. That was so much help.
Awesome. Thank you, Chris. There we go. Next up is David. Quickly spotlighting you. There you go. Can you unmute yourself?
Yep. Thank you very much. Really, really helpful presentation. I appreciate it, Dimit. I've got one quick question and one maybe a little bit longer. Google or Outlook on email, if you're going to pick one or the other to choose, is there a preference?
Yeah. Yeah. So what we've seen is in the past 3 to 4 months, Outlook has been really bad when
Yep.
sending. So 6 to 8 months ago, Outlook was very good. Now that has flipped. So we own very, very few accounts with Outlook now, just because they're very old domains and we don't want to switch. But we've mostly shifted to Google for diversification. And we're doing Google plus SMTP now.
Okay, great. The other question I have, and we've created alt domains, we're an agency, so we're doing this on behalf of our customers as well. We'll set up a domain and 3 or 4 email accounts per domain. Um, we're doing relatively low volume, only like 30 emails per email account. The questions come up in our business. Should we continue the warm up process in those email accounts even while we're running the campaigns just to help drive some responses to those email accounts? Does that help deliverability in the long term if we're continuing warm up in perpetuity?
Absolutely. Warm up is mandatory. And it kind of helps offset your it kind of helps offset your spam complaints and your reply rates. So, like, if your
Okay,
real campaign is getting 1%, 2% reply rates and warm up is getting higher, it will offset the entire thing.
thank you.
Awesome.
Perfect.
Thank you, David. There you go. Next up is Jason. Can you please unmute yourself? Good morning to you, sir.
Hi,
We can't
good
hear
morning.
you.
Can
There
you
we
hear
go.
me?
Yep, loud and clear.
Okay, very good. Hi, Nami. Thanks for the presentation. This is probably like 10 levels more advanced than where I'm at. I currently run one domain, 50 emails per day, highly targeted list, and a lot of attention, manual attention to the emails, not doing any automation with Clay yet. I'm debating if I stay. I'm doing 40 new emails, 40 new people into the audience per week. And I'm wondering if I want to sort of just, I don't want to move to level 10. I just want to, should I keep it at this 50 and be happy that my deliverability rates are good? or should I add in? I'm deciding if I should add in one more domain to get it up to 100.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm at that point. Do you have any advice for someone who's at that point about what would make sense? Because I don't have a huge amount of resources and don't want to dive in too deep.
Yeah, so if that's the case, what I would say is like get as many domains as possible, even if it's one more domain, just to for a backup. Focus on those current leads to get more resources and eventually go to at least 10 to 20 domains to really get the email working for you. Because the results you get over like 40 leads a week or something like that, you can go like get more over 400. So that's kind of the math, right?
Okay, and then sorry, just the last thing. For adding in the domains, that doesn't seem like too much work, but for having landing pages that these go to, like, do I have to then do landing pages that correspond to all these new domains, or do I just, for like the 20, 220 domains, do they all go to the same landing page with the same domain?
They all go to the same one.
Okay. Thank you very
Yep.
much.
Of course.
Awesome. Thank you, Jason.
So, yeah. Here's what I want to do for you guys. I want to make sure that we have enough time for everything. So I'm going to go ahead and give you the giveaway now. What I planned for you guys, essentially that's going to help with email deliverability reporting and an offer. And once we have that, I'm here to answer all questions. So don't worry about that. Let me share my screen and let's go for the giveaway. So I have 3 things for you guys. The first thing here is we've created a software to generate a free email deliverability report for all Smartlead users. Essentially, what you get reply rate, bounce rate by domains, by ESP, and by any tags you have. So especially if you have a bunch of domains, bunch of tags in it, you can bifurcate all of that stuff. This is the link to get the free report. And yeah, like I'll shoot the link later. That's giveaway 1. Giveaway number 2 is we're offering like a 20% off on AeroSend for all webinar attendees. So the coupon code is Smartlead. That's valid for next 48 hours. And that's the second giveaway. And third one is essentially like, it's probably my biggest one yet. But I'm offering a 15-minute free consultation for all AeroSend users who sign up using the coupon code Smartlead. So 15 minutes more than enough, and I'll just come in, I'll fix your entire campaigns and help you increase meetings booked. Essentially, we can talk about copywriting specific to particular clients, lead list building. I'll give you the entire playbook on how you should generate leads, or I'll help you set up the sine wave pattern for you guys, whatever you really need. So these 3 major giveaways, and yeah.
Awesome. Wow. Thank you so much for that, Namit. And I think people are going to hammer AeroSend right after this. But thank you so much for this. Jumping back to the questions we had. Next up is Pedro. Quickly adding him to the spotlight. Can you please unmute, sir? So I've asked to unmute. You would see an option right there saying unmute. Can you do that?
Oh, perfect.
Yeah. Awesome.
I'm back. Perfect. I'm Pedro. I'm from Mexico. I'm going to try to do my best in my English because sometimes I get my head
All good,
problems.
sir. All good.
No worries.
Okay, well, let's. I have 2 questions. First question is for lead scoring purposes. I am tracking open rates and click rates. I know that reply is the key of all the keys, and the key replies are the ones that we have to go for it and whatever. But when tracking open and clicks, I see, so I have created a new variable which is open, false open or false clicked, based on the difference in timestamp between send time and open time.
Yes.
Am I doing something? Is it clever to do this? Does it add value to do, or just forget about what open means? I think in my experience is that when I take these small segments of opens and then launch a campaign, they do much better. So my guess is that it is good to do it. But I also hear a lot of forget about tracking opens and blah blah blah. So
so I understand the question. Here's what I understand, and this is like a really good one. What you're saying is you're actually removing the false opens and the bot opens by checking the difference in time. That's absolutely correct. And if that's adding value to you, I believe you should continue doing it. Yes, the trade-off is lower deliverability, but at the end of the day, the goal is meeting spot. So if you feel like you're getting more meetings by doing what you're doing, you don't stop. What you can do is A/B test this and see how much of a difference you're getting in reply rates. Because I don't have an exact number whether this will increase reply rates by 50% or whatever. So do an A/B test, but you're doing it correctly. You're doing open tracking and using that very correctly.
And the difference time between sent and open, how much time should I give? At this time, I'm giving 1 minute. And it drops like 30% of the opens are false in 1 minute. So is it 1 minute a nice time, or is it to spread more time or less? I don't know. What do you suggest?
So from what I know, 1 minute is more than enough. Yes, there's a thing called like SMTP delays and stuff, so that happens in the back end. But 1 minute is a very good metric. Like you can't really like perfect this to a point where you will get every single thing as a corrected open. But even 1 minute in most cases is more than enough, and that will give you a pretty good signal.
Okay, thanks. Another question is, I used to scrap data from one scrapping tool, right? And they gave me company emails. And I had whatever numbers, much little open rate. Besides my first question, let's say 20% open rate. But somehow I came across to myself another tool that scraps personal emails, not company, personal. And open rates and false whatever is extremely high. Do you recommend to stop sending to company or to look for another tool that scraps good company emails? Or I don't know. What do you suggest? I don't know if I made myself clear.
So when you say company emails, you mean office@companyname.com, correct?
Yes.
Like, so it's generic emails. Basically, it could be. So it depends on who you, it depends
on one email is, let's say, company email is pedro@coca-cola.com. That is a company email. Yes. And pedro@gmail is a personal email.
Okay, perfect. That makes sense. So company emails always perform better. Personal emails, people don't reply to, and they have a lot of unread emails. So unless you're targeting local offices like dentists or like even smaller like local tire companies or something, you should stick to company emails.
Awesome.
But
Pedro, being respectful of time, sorry, sir, there are a couple of other questions lined up, and being respectful of time, thank you so much. But feel free to post your questions and we'll do our best to get it answered. Yeah.
Yes.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Next up is Saransh. A kind request to keep it 1 to 2 questions max, just to be respectful of time. There you go. Can you unmute yourself?
Hey, yeah. Am I audible?
Yes, loud and clear, boss.
Amazing. Thank you so much for this lovely webinar. It was amazing. Really appreciate it. And apart from that, coming on to my question, I've got one question. I'd love to just outline what I want to say. I am representing a B2B SaaS agency right now, and as mentioned, almost all of our clients are from SaaS industry. Reply rates vary from industry to industry as well. So, what would be a realistic expectation for SaaS industry? And just to give you an idea about our existing setup, so we usually, whenever we onboard a client, just to ensure volumes, we buy 60 to 90 domains for them, and per domain we've got 3 mailboxes set up with a split of 1:2 mailboxes for Outlook and Google. So 2 are Google and 1 is Outlook in that manner.
Mhm.
And we send 10 emails a day with a warm-up of 10 emails every day, variable warm-up.
Okay.
So that's an idea about the infra. So would love to know your thoughts on that. And yeah, we don't inject any HTMLs and any hyperlinks to ensure that we bypass all of that.
Yeah. So SaaS. So the question here is, what should be a good reply rate for SaaS industries? Correct. Yeah. So your infrastructure is pretty good. So no questions here. There, like you're decently diversified, and I'm assuming the providers and everything is solid there. With SaaS is the hardest to target because they get hit with the emails the most, right? Like that's one email. So you need to have at least 1 to 2% non-out of office replies. That's like a good metric, at least maybe even 1%, depending on the offer you have, but like below 1% is where I start getting concerned. Yeah, I think you're muted.
Yeah, sorry. I was about to say that yes, we are achieving approximately 2% when I average out for all of our clients. So just wanted to confirm that if we are going good or you'd advise something better.
Yeah, I mean, it's pretty good. Like, obviously, then you need to do more message market fit and like see if you can even get it higher. Like, at the end of the day, the goal is to get that high as possible and optimize for positive reply rates. So, but I think you're on a good track.
Amazing. Thank you so much, man.
Thank you, Suranj. Have a good day, mate. Next up is Joshua. Last 3 questions for the day. Can you unmute yourself, sir?
Yes, thank you. All right, no pressure. Last questions of the day, huh? Well, first off, thank you both very much for your time here today and for the information. It's very helpful. I actually only have 2 questions. The first one, I want to make sure I've got the tech stack correct. So it sounds like you're recommending buying expired domains for aged domains, utilizing those, bringing those domains to an SMTP provider like AeroSend, then hooking AeroSend in with Smartlead and using
Mhm.
Smartlead to run the campaigns and monitor the campaigns. Is that right?
Yeah, that's correct. So what you said was essentially you're buying inboxes from something like AeroSend or AeroSend in particular, and just connecting them to Smartly to send emails. That's what I heard?
Mm-hmm.
Correct.
Yep.
Yeah, that's correct. Perfect.
Okay. Got it. Okay. And then using Million Verifier to actually verify before sending. Is that right?
Yeah, Million Verifier and a catch-all tool, which could be either one in the market. I use Bounce Band.
Okay. Got it. Okay. That's great. Second was just on some metrics. I'm currently I've got a 52% open rate, which I think that's positive. But my reply rate very low. It's 1.5%, but that's all like auto response, out of office
Mhm.
stuff. So in your opinion, probably just a message or offer issue. Is that probably what that is?
Yeah, so either the lead list or the message/offer.
Okay. Gotcha. Well, on the lead list side, I'm just scraping GMB. So I'm using GMB leads for outreach.
Yeah, I mean, like, seems like the lead list is covered as well. So try playing with the offer and see
Mm-hmm.
if that changes. Like, ideally, like your lead list needs to have the pain that you're solving.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Got it. Okay.
Yeah,
Thank you. I appreciate it.
of course.
Awesome.
Figure out.
Thank you, Joshua. And
Take care
Namit,
now.
just as a recommendation, do you think for Joshua to test out plain text versus tracking link would also be a good exercise because he's currently doing open tracking, right?
100%. Yeah, that's one thing. Good call, Akash. Like, you should definitely switch off your open tracking and try to run these with plain text and see if that helps you improve replies as well.
Interesting.
Awesome.
Okay. Gotcha.
Thank you, Joshua.
Very
Have a
helpful.
good day, boss. Cheers.
Hey, thanks, guys. Appreciate it.
Next up is Natalie. Yeah, she's lowered her hand. No. Natalie, can you turn on your video? I'll quickly spotlight you. If not, I can unmute yourself and you can go for your question.
Okay. Oh, there you go. Hey,
Hey.
Nami, thank you so much for this webinar. Like, it has been like really great. I just have a question when it comes to spam, like emails going to spam, the best practice for checking that. So on a previous company I was, we were using lookups. I didn't like it, but I wanted to like hear from you, like what is the best practice for checking the spam on the emails.
Yeah, so basically, like that's just things I spoke about during the presentation, the 5 things you need to do. And inbox placement test is one of them. But you also have to look at like reply rates by domain. You have to look at open rates by domain if you're tracking open rates, that will help bounce rate by domain, the kind of bounce type you're getting, and your warm-up reputation score. So all 5 to 6 things combined will tell you whether you are landing in inbox or spam.
Gotcha. Would you recommend lookups at all, or is it like better just to look at the data itself?
Yeah, so lookups are obviously a very solid tool. They've been there for a while, but that's the problem with all spam tests is that like they are seed accounts. So
Yeah.
over time, like there's not a crazy difference. Like honestly, like you can just use the Smartlead inbox placement test, and that would make it a lot easier.
Perfect. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you. Last 2 questions for the day. Next up is Camilo. Sorry, boss. Sorry about that. There you go. Can you unmute yourself? Perfect.
Sir. Hey guys, thank you. Yeah, so be purchasing today or tomorrow. We ran a test with Eric Novosalki with Genex. Had awesome results with Clay. 2-step sequence, 2 booked meetings, 7 out of 7 positive replies. Awesome. So just wanted to put that out there. As far as getting Clay and Smartlead, I want to get them aligned, like possibly start and connect them and integrate them in one day. Is that possible?
Yeah, I mean, like, so Clay has a direct integration with Smartlead. So it's actually like it's like an enrichment. If you've used Clay before, you can like there's like an add enrichment button. So you can send your leads directly from Clay to Smartlead in minutes. So it's not even like a day integration. It will take you 5 minutes to do it with the right plans.
Awesome. Okay. And multi-channel, what do you guys mean by multi-channel? I know LinkedIn is not that's why I'm going to be using HeyReach. But what other multi-channel? SMS or
Twitter, WhatsApp, SMS, calls, essentially any form of outbound channel. Like if your audience on Instagram DMs. For B2B, LinkedIn and email is essentially one of the best ones and the most popular ones. SMS is not legal in most parts of the world, so you need to be careful about that. They're pretty strict about that.
Yeah.
I'm assuming the audience is B2B, so you can potentially add calling next.
Awesome. All right. Looking forward to getting started. Thank you, guys.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Camilo. Last question for the day. Surya, if you can turn on your video, I'll spotlight your boss. If not, you can unmute and go for it. Surya, can you hear us?
Yeah, sorry, I have trouble in my turning on my camera.
All good.
So first of all, thanks a lot for this amazing session. It was really insightful and I was mind blown because I just started out this out campaigning. So I have 2 doubts. First thing is that what is a good open rate for me to like what to say judge how is my subject line. Actually, I have doubt how good is my subject line. So I want to know what is a good open rate that you recommend, that you think?
Yeah, so ideally when you send enough, like over time, you're gonna realize subject lines don't matter that much. So I'm just gonna tell you that first. Like you can use like just a 2-word subject line, and most emails in the business setting get opened irrespective. A lot of emails. If you really want to track open rates, that doesn't help with subject line. That's going to help with deliverability. And you should be touching at least 35-40% open rates at all times.
Okay, okay, fine, I got it. And then second question is that is it recommendable to send the website link in the first message, like first mail, or in the follow-ups?
Yeah, so it is not recommended to send website links or any form of links in the first email, and I would avoid it even in the follow-ups. Send pure content when pure text. When they reply to you positively, you can send them the website link.
Okay, okay, I got it. And then the
Awesome.
email length should be of 40 words, right? Like, or less than 40.
Less than 40 if you want to land in Outlook, and if you're targeting enterprise companies for sure. Typical best practices say less than 100.
Okay, okay. Thank you. Thanks a lot.
Thank you, Surya.
Of course.
And Namit, I hope you're going to also drop the clay table link and the document link on the chat, right? Awesome.
Yep.
Sorry to do this. I told this was the last question, but I can't leave Christian behind. Last question for the day. Christian, if you can turn on your video, I'll spotlight you. If not, you can unmute and go for it. Christian, you there?
Thank you, Akash. Yeah, I just unmuted myself.
Awesome.
You can see that I'm there. So thank you for the presentation, Amit. I just have a quick question to close it up. I've just started with cold email campaigns, and I've set up my email accounts with work mail from AWS. I just wanted to get your input on whether you've used that one and you have had good results or better change to, Google. So I would appreciate your input on that. Thank you.
So AWS, when we were testing our software, AWS did not work for us as well. So it was one of the providers we tested in the beginning. So I think that's something you need to keep in mind. I have not tested Workmail myself. And yeah, like if you think like if you don't want to change, if you want to be safe, you should change. And if you are open to experimenting, you can try it out yourself too.
Okay. And out of the different options that are there, you said that Google would be the better one?
How many domains do you have?
Currently, I have only 4 domains.
Yeah. If you only have 4 domains, like you should probably go to Google. That would be the safe. Yeah, that would be like the first option here. And once you start going in more than 10 domains range, that's when you need to diversify and not just do more than Google.
Okay. Thank you so much for your input, Amit. Thank you, Akash.
Perfect. Thank you, Christine. Have a good day, boss. Namit, anything else before we close, sir?
Yeah. I see some questions in chat. I don't know if we were able to answer all of them, but if you guys have any questions, I'm happy to answer them. Just let me know in Slack and I'll answer them for you.
Awesome. So you can find Namit on the Smartlead Slack community, guys. So thank you, Namit. Thank you for that. You can reach out to Namit if your questions weren't answered, and he would get back to you. The document link, the clay table link, and the free tool links is absolutely on the chat. Check them out. And the coupon code is only for 2 days. So feel free to check that out as well. But Namit, thank you so much, boss. Thank you so much for spilling gold like I always do. I can't wait to see you on the next one. But until then, 3 consistent things in life: death, taxes, and office hours every Thursday. I'll see you all again next week. New guest, new topic. Until then, cheers. Thank you, guys.
See you guys.